Happy Thursday and welcome to On the Move with Nan and Kam. And Mary Marshall Graeber is our guest today. And we're so excited. She's the volunteer coordinator at Sports Backers. She is beloved by all staff and volunteers and event goers. And I have worked with her the entire time I've worked here, been here as long as Cam's been here. So we're so excited to have
I'm a
you.
lucky lady.
And yeah, she is a lucky lady. She doesn't want to be on here today. So
But guess what? She's here.
she thinks, guys, she thinks she's not good on camera, and that's false. So we're just going to break her of that thought today. So comment that you love Mary Marshall below.
So we can keep her around.
She'll become the third host.
I like to be behind the scenes.
So tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do at Sports Backers. If they've been to an event, they've seen you, but
Well, most likely they don't always see me, but when it's really interesting that even when I meet volunteers in person, even after they've been volunteering for years with me, they're like, "Oh, you're the lady that sends me all the emails. I know your name."
Yeah.
So yes, I've been here for 22 years, which seems wild.
yeah.
And obviously it's the best job ever because I'm
been here for
still
22
here and I'm
years.
still loving it. And the reason that it is amazing is because of all the people that I get to work with. You guys
Yeah.
on staff, but all the volunteers and all the friends I've made and all the people in the community that support us. I mean, what's not to love about that?
Yeah. When thinking about this, I was like, you actually have maybe like people think of my job and your job as like an outward facing job, but it's like, no, I feel like the majority of people, period, are interacting with you at some point when they're there, whether it's packet pickup, volunteer, like they've seen some part of the organization that you've had a big hand in.
Yeah, I mean, we're so lucky that all the volunteers that come out to support us, even starting at Packet Pickup.
Yeah.
If you're at the expo of one of our big events, the 10K or the marathon, like the energy that you feel and just the volunteers coming in, and I'm at volunteer check-in and they're coming in fast and furious and making their name tags. And it's just always so great. A lot of times, I get to see the same people
Yeah.
that come back over again. And it's just like thrilling to just have so many people in the community that want to support us in our events. So yeah,
great.
I'm lucky.
I feel like we talk about that often about our like super volunteers that have been at Sports Backers for almost as long as you have. And I feel like that's a good thing though, that you have the same people wanting to come back
Oh,
and
yeah.
volunteer for not just one event, but for most of our events. They're like Pat and Joy and Michael and Marcy and like all the same people. They're like, yep, the people I say should basically be on payroll because they're literally at every event.
I mean, yeah, Joy and Pat will say like, yeah, we can pretty much run the event, and they could. Yeah, no, we're super, super lucky to have this like core group of people. And maybe a lot of people don't know what they do behind the scenes. Everything from like for the marathon, the 10K, we mail out over 1,000 packets to people that aren't able to come to the expo. Maybe they live out of town or their job doesn't permit. And so we had this core group of like 6 mainly ladies that are in our warehouse, which is not super glamorous, but they are in there helping us like get all of these, packets of bibs and shirts ready to go. When we're getting ready for the corporate run, which we just had last month, we have bib numbers to label, we have team boxes to make. They're right there with us, helping us.
Right.
And like having this group that we can literally, call on, send an email, and like almost every single time they're like, yep, let me know
Right.
when it is and I'll be there.
Right.
So
Without having to pay them.
yeah,
They're just there.
Yeah, they're
Superstars.
amazing. Yeah. And then we have, literally thousands of other volunteers that we appreciate just as much that are out there, everything from middle school kids up to retired individuals that, give so much back to us, high school kids, college kids, our businesses, our sponsors support us with teams. Like we're just so, so lucky.
Yeah.
Obviously, like you said, you've been here for 22 years and you love your job because you've stayed. What are some things that you love about your job?
Well, the first thing is people. Like if you don't like people, you don't
can't
like to
do it,
talk,
You
as
can't
y'all
do
know
it.
that I do, then this would not be a good job for you. But it's because of the people. and the relationships and I mean, literally the fun we have. I mean, I was thinking about it. It's so cool, especially like when we're at the expo, when we literally have a row of like 20 volunteers with tablets, assigning bib numbers at the 10K or the marathon. It's like really busy. And I'll come by and like check on them. And, here this person is sitting by this person that are, they've never met, different ages, different whatevs. And they're like just having so much fun. Like they're giggling and just, having a really great time. And so I think that is one of the really beautiful things about like volunteering at Sports Backers is our mission is so incredible and we try to make it a lot of fun. Like, and the participants are always like, their energy is really up because they're getting ready to do something that they've trained for and that they're excited about. So you can just feel all that energy and everybody's kind of feeding off each other. So
yeah, no, it's great. How many volunteers do you work with a year? I always think if you know this number, if you have to estimate it, that's also fine.
But total estimate.
Yes, total estimate's fine. But I always think that that's like wild because we always talk about how people are always surprised, when I'm out talking and I'm like, they'll be like, how many people are on staff? And you're like, 25-ish. And they're like, wow, I can't believe you can do the Richmond Marathon. But like you're saying, it's all thanks to the hundreds and thousands of other people. And then what are some of the biggest challenges for you when managing that many people? So I guess how many volunteers do you work with annually, you think?
Well, I would probably guess at like 5,000, but like, here's the thing. For the marathon that's coming up in the fall, we have 16 water stops. So we have to have a group or two or three at every single water stop of like 20 people or 25 people. And at the 10K, we have 4 water stops where we have like 75 people that are made up of like 6 or 8 groups. So I don't actually get to know or see everyone of those individuals, but I like communicate with the captain of the group or their point of contact. So if you add up all those people, it's not like I'm always knowing everyone, but I mean, I would say it could be close to 5,000 people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If you add up all the people on the courses and, and then we have our smaller events that don't maybe need as many volunteers as the 10K or the marathon, but still we have a good number that come out and support us.
So. Oh yeah. What is the biggest challenge then of like having to manage and make sure all these people are in their correct spots at their correct time?
Well, luckily we have an incredible group of individuals that support us through our event committees. And like Cam said earlier, a lot of them literally have been doing this even before I started working here. So they are just like, primo at their job. They know exactly what they're doing. And, a lot of our volunteers, that's the face, that's the person.
Yeah.
Like you said, Marcy, who does the finish line at the marathon, the 10K, the volunteers are there and that's their point of contact. And, she's doing an incredible job there. And we have so many other individuals like Jay Lindsay, who manages our water stops for the marathon, the 10K. Like he is the point person that a lot of these groups know and see. Not particularly maybe me. So we're just really incredibly fortunate to have these people that support us. And then I guess the hardest thing is finding new groups. If anyone's out there, we always have volunteer opportunities.
We want you.
Yeah. It is like trying to locate like new school groups because like sometimes if you have like the beta club, you've got a really good point of contact and then they graduate, then you kind of lose like who the next
that whole chunk of volunteers.
Or you can't use the same volunteers in the fall as the spring because some sports teams might be in season in the fall and not the spring, so they can't come to this race, and then it's like now I got to replace them with another team.
No, exactly. And so when we are like maybe looking for sports teams that want to that maybe be a good fit to help at like the marathon, like you said, if they're in season in the fall, like that would be very difficult for them because they have games on Saturday, so they can't come. So that is always something that we're always trying to like come up with, like getting in to different like groups, or finding the coach, or finding the team lead, or even like our sponsors. A lot of times when we get a new sponsor, they want to be involved with their their team, whether they're participating, but also with volunteers. So that's another great way to get people involved.
Yeah. Those CarMax volunteers always out there unwrapping those tacky light run medals.
They are.
No matter the temp, they're the best.
Yeah.
No matter the temp.
I know. We're always hoping for a nice sunny day when they're out there unwrapping those in the parking lot.
So when it comes to, obviously, like, you are the volunteer coordinator for like our events, on the flip side of that, we have our all-stars mentors, and we have like fitness warriors, and we have kids on the move. We have a ton of volunteers that it's kind of like easier to see what they're doing. Like, I'm a kids on the move coach, that I'm coaching the kids. What do your volunteers do at events? Like, what is the range of things that they could be doing when they sign up to volunteer?
All right. Well, first of all, they're not my volunteers.
Well,
they're
our
volunteers. No, they are. They're
our
all
volunteers.
sports
They would follow you into battle, though.
No,
so they might be
but
they're
hers.
hers.
They are. They are our volunteers for sure. So the question was like, what do they do? Well, gosh, like we talked about, like packet pickup on, usually it's typically Friday, the afternoon before. So they're signing bib numbers on tablets, and I always put in my little notes, like, bring your glasses if you need to use them, because like that is a thing.
Oh yeah.
And handing out shirts. So that's like pre-race, getting everybody ready for the next day. And then on race day, we have volunteer opportunities on the course. So course marshals, which are really important. I mean, sometimes you think, well, I'm just kind of in one location, but that location is chosen because like that's a critical corner.
Right.
Like, if you don't make the turn, you're in
Everybody
trouble.
could go off track.
So, and it's really interesting for like the marathon, because it is 26.2 miles that we're covering. There's like a lot of volunteers that have been in the same location, and they're really helpful with the feedback they give us, because they really are seeing like that particular area of the course and exactly what's going on. And sometimes they're like, hey, we need another person here because we've got like two-way traffic, or we've got other stuff going on. And then the water stop, same on the course. And, a lot of them, we try to look like, okay, if we need a water stop group in the north side for the marathon, for example, we're like, oh, what schools or what churches are nearby? Like right here in our new neighborhood in Lakeside, the Bellevue Civic Association, like mans the water stop over there. And there was a group that came and helped at the junk food stop over there. So we're really lucky that like the neighbors and the businesses, schools nearby want to be involved in the community in their little neck of the woods. And then there's always the finish line, which you guys have been at the finishes of our races. That's always like the best. Our participants have trained hard. They've put a lot of time and effort into it, and they're getting their medal, they're getting their water. And that's always like a really exciting place. Busy, but really, really fun. I'm lucky that my son runs a 10K every year and has done the half marathon too. So like he lets me track him for like literally like for 3 hours of his life, and that's it. So I can run down there and be there when he finishes. But that's always a super fun place to be. And then post-race food, like at the marathon, who doesn't want to like be surrounded by like a million pizzas and be handing those out,
exactly.
right? And all the post-race food, and that's always a great spot. Bag check, we got bag check, and it's there's so many different ways to be involved.
I know last year we were looking for somebody to drive the lead vehicle for the 10K, and that was a volunteer position. That's crazy too. Like, there's so many things that you can do as a volunteer.
And that's another good point. For the marathon, we have like SAG support. So we have like 4 individual, we provide the vehicles, but they're out in different quadrants of the course. So that if somebody's like, I can't go any further, I just don't want to go, or there's no medical issue, they're just like maybe they tweak their knee or something, and so they pick them up and bring them back to a designated spot. So that's another thing, right? Out on the course doing that. I know
so many things.
I think it's wild when you like think about the variety of the jobs, and even like how intricate some of them are too. Like you were saying that we have people that are now like top volunteer for 10 other volunteers and things like that. But I always think about like, I think, you're like, oh, I work there. I know what's going on, or like all that stuff. And then when one of us has to fill in at a volunteer job and I'm asking 1,000,010 questions and you're like, somebody else is doing this better that doesn't even know half of the information that I already have. When we're talking about course marshals, I always think at River Rock when I have to be a course marshal and I'm like texting John and Molly, like, right before the event being like, help, how do I get exactly out where I am? Yeah. Like, what do I do? And you're always like, it is just so cool that people are giving their time in that way just because they want to help others or they want to be involved with the organization. So it is just crazy. And hearing you talk about the scope of all the ways and us just thinking of more, like there's something.
No,
there
really is something for everybody. And like, I remember like years and years ago, there was this boy who was in middle school who was in like the baccalaureate program, and he had to have volunteer hours. So he started there. And then when he got into high school, he decided to do our training team. Oh. And then he came back like a few years later, and I didn't even recognize him because his fitness level where he had started and where he ended up. And then he did our half marathon training team, our marathon. Then he went to VCU and he joined the crew team, and he's still out there running. He's like 30 years old, but it's just like wild to see. Yeah. Sometimes people don't come in as a volunteer. Yeah. And a lot of times we hear that, I'll be like, hey, do you want to help at this water stop or this course marshal? And they're like, oh my gosh, I had so much fun course marshaling at the 10K last year that I decided to join the training team this year, and I'm going to run. And I'm like, woo, that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, like, that's the best, right? Oh yeah. And in marketing, that's not a pipeline that we like often think about. I don't feel like a volunteer turn event participant just because of what a fun experience they had. Right. Because they see it and they're like, wait, I can do this too. Fun. Yeah. This is so much fun. I see this side of it. And then oftentimes, like, the 10K or the marathon, somebody that's participating will come volunteer on Thursday evening at packet pickup. And they're like, I've done the 10K or the marathon or other events multiple times. And I see all the volunteers on the course and at the finish line. And I appreciate them so much that I want to come and volunteer when I can, like for my little 4-hour shift, so that I can kind of give back because I see how many volunteers it takes. Yeah. And so that's when you're like, wow, that's so cool that participants want to, give a little time because they appreciate everybody. Or they just like really realize like how much that's helping the event that they love go. Yeah, exactly. They appreciate all the volunteers that help them achieve their goal. Yeah. And so, there's just so many cool stories like that. And that's the thing that I always love is when I'm like walking around, running around, just checking on everybody, just seeing the fun that the volunteers are having. And we do try to be very purposeful that we make the shifts like 4 hours kind of max. Right. And we look at like, how many people do we really need to get this job done? Right. Like we don't want to have too many. We don't want to have too little, because if you're coming out to volunteer for 4 hours, I don't want you to be like, oh my gosh, that was so boring. I didn't do anything. Or to be like, oh my gosh, that was way too hard. I mean, like that was so much. I didn't even have time to like go to the bathroom. So we really try hard to be very purposeful about people's time and respecting that and appreciating that they're giving that to us and to our mission and to all the participants and making their hours here well spent. Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're doing a great job because they're coming back. So clearly the focus on that works. Yeah. And don't forget the snacks. I was thinking it. Honestly. Like drinks and snacks point. And lunch and pizza. Like you gotta take care of the peeps. You do. Yeah. You do. Food is the way to their heart. And of course the volunteer shirt. You got a shirt on too. You're killing it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you think people would be surprised to know about volunteering at an event? Well, the food, that's not really a surprise now because we just told about it. Yeah, but I don't think they knew about it before. Yeah, so I mean, the food is pretty incredible. I mean, I really am always like blown away at just like literally how much fun they have.
Yeah. No, it is
And
fun.
like the things that they come up with, and like there's a task, but just because the task is one way doesn't mean that it always has to be done like
Right.
exactly that way. And so a lot of times they can come up with a flow or a function that's even better than we thought that we knew. You know? So it is great just to see all the different personalities and the different ways that people interact with each other, and just the fun there is and the stories you hear. I mean, I can hear some good stories. I mean,
I would love that. I do love to overhear things.
Yeah,
That could be it.
sometimes you do hear some good stories.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
I remember last year, I mentioned this before, Jordan, my fiance, was at a water stop on the marathon, and he texted me and was like, the first guy just came flying by me. And I was like, oh, he's excited. He wasn't excited to wake up early, but once he went out there, and he was there with Megan Keogh's husband and boys.
That's right.
And he was like, I had fun. Like, it was really cool. And I was like, good.
Yeah.
Because like he can complain all he wants to, then he gets out there and he's like actually having fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, see, it's not as bad as volunteering is fun.
No, it is. And this is something you just said, what surprised me. The first year that we had the River City Half Marathon, y'all, it literally rained the entire time. And y'all know I was a wreck leading up to it because I was like, the volunteers, it's going to be cold. It's going to be rainy.
Right.
Because I really,
You care about them.
I care about them. I bring ponchos. I bring hand warmers.
Right.
Yes. We got to have snacks. Like, I am all about
Right.
like taking care of the volunteers as best that I can. So I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so worried. All those people came out, not
Smile.
Every single person showed up and had the best daggone time. I was like blown away. Like blown away.
Thank you.
Yes. No, like they had on their raincoat and their galoshes. I mean, like they were ready.
Right.
But they just had a ball. It's kind of like, when you're all in there together and the action is moving, you don't really think about it.
No,
Like,
and if everybody, a good attitude is contagious. So it's like, if they're
Totally.
happy, then you're like, okay,
Totally.
I can be happy.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, it was so fun. And that was super surprising, especially for a new event. And a lot of those volunteers came from our title sponsor, Virginia Credit Union, who were amazing. And they had a ton of volunteers. All came, all had fun.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
Shout out
it
to
is
them.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to shout
Yeah,
out back.
go back you. Right. Shout out to back you. Yeah.
Tell us how we can get involved if we want to volunteer at the marathon or at any other of our races.
It's so easy. Just go to our website. There's a little tab at the top that says get involved. Click the volunteer link
Get involved.
and get involved. Make a little profile.
Easy.
Yeah.
You'll see all of our current events that we're looking for volunteers for. So right now it's the Ashland Half. I'm in the middle of putting up Run Richmond 1619. I had to step away so I could come talk to y'all. And the marathon will be going up in early August. We try to put up the events about 3 months prior to them happening, because if you put it up too far in advance, you might kind of forget that you signed up for something.
Right.
That's true.
So 3 months seems to be the sweet spot. And then I try not to email very often, but like every couple of months when I've added new events, I send out sort of a global email blast. Hence, the people are like, "Oh, you're Mary Marshall Graeber." I get the emails from you.
I got the emails.
Yeah. So, So, anyways, once you make your profile, you'll hear from me periodically.
And signing up is the same for if you also wanted to, like, let's say I wanted to bring my team. I do the same thing. I go on the website.
If you want to go, bring your team. You can create a personal profile for you, and then just email me.
And say,
That's
I'm
the
bringing
best
12
way.
people.
Right. To
Okay.
be like, hey, I'm the softball coach, for this team, and we're interested in volunteering at Ashland Half or something. And then I'm like, great, I got a spot for you.
Perfect.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll like say, hey, do you have a minute? We could jump on a call, depending, or we'll just work it out over email.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great. Easy. Well, now might be your hard part. Your this or that.
Oh, geez.
Rapid fire. I have one that is in honor of you having two names. It's a two-namer.
Yeah.
It's a two-parter, this or that.
Okay.
So Mary Marshall is her full name, Mary Marshall. First
Full
name,
name.
Mary Marshall Graeber, last name. That through email in the world we live in today gets messed up sometimes.
Yes.
If we've encountered people accidentally calling you one name, if you're only going to be called one name, what gets under your skin less when someone calls you Mary or Marshall?
Well, the funny thing is my sons call me Marshall
Okay.
because when they were in high
You're
school,
the Marshall.
it was a little bit embarrassing, supposedly, to be like, "Hey, mom," and there was a bunch of moms around, and 3 people would turn around.
Yes.
So they call me Marshall.
Okay.
So I kind of like that. And now some of their friends do too.
Oh, that's cute. I like
so
that too.
actually that one is,
Got a
I
good
will,
soft
I hear
spot.
that one.
And then the reason it was a two-parter is then you also have 2 well-used nicknames on staff here. You're either MM or G. And which one of those do you prefer?
I think I like G because that was like a funny one where when the man came to set up our new phone back in the old office where we actually had a phone on our desk, they put Mary G. And that's they started calling me Mary G, and then it just went to G. And it's just kind of a sweet, only y'all call me that. So it's kind of a sweet little special
I like G.
one.
That one makes me think of Scott too for some reason. So I like that one also.
Mary G. That sounds a little country too.
It does.
Mary G.
G.
Okay. So we're summertime. Vacations.
Yeah.
I know you like to go down. Your little vacations always look so cute with your friends and family, and you go down and then it's a bunch of people. Would you prefer to do that with a whole bunch of people, or would you prefer like last year when you went to Italy? I think it was, or Spain. Yeah. Would you prefer like a just you, Fuzzy, and the boys?
Oh,
out of
that's
the
a
country?
tough
That
one.
is a tough one.
I mean, that's going to have to be a split.
Yeah,
because-
that's 2 different vibes.
Yeah,
there.
it is.
totally different vibes. So it was so fun when we went to Europe. It was the first time for my husband and sons, and I'd only been one time in college, so it'd been a little bit. And so that was so fun because we're all active and we just walked and did.
You're doing
and,
a lot.
I mean, they're all 6'4" and I am 5'5". So it took a while for me to keep up with them, but it was great. I mean, I know, but it was intense. But then also going with like all of our friends to Pawleys Island, like that's a special time too. So I guess I'm going to have to be split.
Okay.
Yeah.
This and that.
And that can happen.
Yep.
All right. This one is, we were talking about the food. So let's say you need that. We've all been there. It's that afternoon slump crash is about to happen and you need that pick me up at an event. Are you going, sometimes we get really bougie and we get to have a bubble water. Are you going bubble water or Diet Coke?
Oh, Diet Coke all the way.
That is, you need that caffeine hit.
That is my little, I'm
Your little escape.
I don't buy them at my house. Yeah. So when it's event time, game on, Diet Cokes are allowed. Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, and because it's a hard weekend. Like,
Yeah.
give yourself a treat.
Oh, you got to have that treat, that Diet Coke. Yeah.
Nothing better than when it's hot out. It's like River Rock and you're treating yourself to the first hit of that
ice
cold
Diet Coke down up
Been in
the
that
ice.
Yeti
Oh, yeah.
for 3 days.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And maybe you even have your backpack huggy that you put in. And then you're
really
you're
set.
set.
That's expert level. That's 22 years of experience that you learn.
Backpack huggy.
That's what you got to do. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope it was relatively painless.
It was.
You did great.
Well, it's easy to talk to y'all.
See, I told you. She's a yapper like us.
And
so
we
we
talk
knew
about
she'd
our
be fine.
volunteers. So
Yes.
actually, you were right.
Your
It was
favorite
easy.
subject.
Yep.
And if you know Mary Marshall, you love her. So I know that if you're a volunteer, you're already recruiting other volunteers. But if you've never volunteered with us before, definitely check it out. It's a really fun experience and just a cool way to get to know Richmond and our events better. But yeah, visit us at sportsbackers.org and we'll see you next week. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.